What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Entrepreneurs Play Crash Team Racing Part 4. We are here in Citadel City, and we are now going to start the races here. These are the last 4 races that are available to us. These are where things are going to get, I guess the tracks could seem like they're getting harder. They're not really. I actually like these tracks a lot more than a lot of the other tracks that we've raced on. But these have a lot more holes in them, and the racers are going to be driving a lot harder and a lot better, and it is really easy to get bogged down at the start and end up, behind a lot of these people and falling down one of the holes just like Tiny did. It's very easy to do that. But as long, you don't even have to, even with the speed boost, the extra speed boost pad, that can still affect you somewhat. But anyway, and so as you saw, that was a pretty big hole that Tiny fell into, or I guess a deep one. This is another deep one that I just jumped over. That will those are the 2 best. Well, those are some of the 2 best holes you can get. But the big jump that I hit is kind of hard to hit people on, because a lot of the time they won't go straight over the track. They will go straight over the jump. They will turn and kind of hit the sides of the ramp rather than straight at the middle. And as you saw, Pura got crushed by the toxic waste can. You can actually get caught there, right as you're jumping over the can, and actually get crushed there, and that's another big hole. It's not a really good hole to drop items on, but if one of the other characters gets caught by it, it definitely will slow them down. Let me see, yep, there we go. Okay, that's Coco's line, as well as probably Polar's line as well. But, that's just like I said, it's really fun to mess with the other racers and mess up there and affect the results, because Coco had a pretty good lead. The way this track usually gets is it will kind of, everyone will kind of just ride in their spots instead of trying to pass other racers. Of course, if you have problems, if they hit some of your things but they don't fall down holes, that could give other racers an opportunity to pass, like Dingo. But for the most part, they usually won't wreck or fall off or anything like that. And you can see Cortex got crushed there. He didn't fall, but he did get crushed, and you can see he's definitely losing a lot of time to Dingo. And the engine was about to pass him, but yeah, this is a really interesting track to watch the other racers, just to see what they do. As I said, everyone kind of will, after the first lap, everyone will just kind of sit and ride around unless you affect the results. And I think we've already seen this combination before, so I'll go ahead and skip it. And now you can see, now there's actually 2 ways you can do this. You can ride around like this, and this is something that I haven't shown off yet, but you can see you can, while you are sliding and turning at the same time, you can actually break loose and start to spin. You can kind of see the cart start to wobble right before you wreck. As you can see here, all these stained glass windows have the same portraits of the bosses from Crash 3. You can see Tiny in his gladiator helmet, Dingo's face, the exact same way it was in Crash 3. All of these are taken from Crash 3, by the way. You can see Cortex's face there, Engine's face there in the red one, and then Entropy's face in the yellow one. So that's something pretty cool that Naughty Dog added in there. So a lot of the times you'll see racing game, like spin-off games like this, racing games kind of throw those little things in. And that's really the biggest thing that Naughty Dog put into this game. Kind of a throwback to an old game. And this is a really big throwback to an old game. This is Cortex Castle, so we are actually racing around inside of Cortex's castle. The sky looks the exact same it was when you fought Cortex. So it's kind of that sunrise portion. It is raining, which it wasn't doing back then. The only time it was raining was on Slippery Climb, and probably Stormy Ascent if they had kept the game in there. I believe that actually was raining, if following with the same design as that one. But this one is definitely a very hard racetrack to lose the other racers. As you can see, everyone is staying very close to me, and that kind of goes into, unless you use the power slide boost a whole lot, you're not going to be able to gain a whole lot of time on them, even if you have the what do you call it? The super speed pads, because there's not that many speed boost pads around here. I don't think that's going to mess anybody up, but if you can get a nitro and stick it over that hole, that's another great area to hit people and try to knock them down, but a Brio Beaker will not work while going through there. We can see the other racers will get clumped around. This isn't like Engine Labs. You'll see a lot of position changes from time to time. You can see they are all pretty much in a big clump there, and you'll definitely see it swap positions a lot unless you lay down a nitro in a pretty good spot. That's probably the blast effect, or the blast radius going on, because that was Tiny's line going through there. Maybe Dingo hit it and caught Coco in it as well, or Coco hit it and caught Dingo in it as well. I'm not sure exactly. Sadly, nobody hit it. I guess I should have just laid it for Purra. Now that should affect somebody. I don't know, especially if they can. Okay, so it hit Polar. I guess there was no one else around to get hit by it. Yeah. But we've knocked out all the good guys, so all we have is Coco left, so this probably will be 2 bad guys on the front row unless I can mess somebody up, but I didn't get something to lay down there, so I doubt I'll hit anybody else while going through here. But yeah, this is a really fun track. This is one of my favorite tracks in the game. It's pretty cool to be able to run around on Cortex's Castle. I wish they could have added some elements from Crash 1 into it. Outside of the spiders, there's really no other elements to it. And I'm actually going to wait here and see who I hit, depending on who it is. So that was Engine's line. Nothing real special, but I just wanted to see who I was going to hit. And you can see Tiny was able to climb his way back at the 5th, but Purr never. I'm not sure if he actually fell twice or what happened to him, but that gap shouldn't have knocked him down as far as, if you remember, Engine came back up immediately. I don't think we've ever seen Coco in 3rd, so I'll go ahead and let you look at her computer. I don't remember what she's doing on her computer. I'm not sure even if it's ever said or anything like that. It could be in the trivia for the game. But I will read about it when, the trivia and all that once I get to the wrap-up video for this game. So I'll just wait till then. But now this track is definitely very, very hard, even for a good all-around character like this, because of a couple turns that it has on this track, and it is one of the longest tracks that you go to. Like I believe an average lap around here is like 1:12 or something like that. I don't remember exactly. Now this whole corner going through here, you have to have a really good handling car to be able to make a whole lot of time going through here. And this one shortcut here, you have to get the jumping just right to be able to use it. And if you don't, if you end up missing the jump, you won't be able to use the shortcut efficiently. And you can just see how difficult it is to try to to try to catch up to the other racers. while going through there, and you can get caught on the other carts. You have to be very careful about that. I don't know how in the world I got. It's actually the first time I've actually got caught for so long on a cart before. But anyway, something that I haven't mentioned before is that you can actually wait. That the item selection, you can actually speed it up by hitting the circle button. I believe if you wait about 2 seconds after you hit a box, if you hit the circle button again, you can immediately just have it be whatever it was going to, instead of waiting for as long as you would normally. I'm surprised that actually didn't mess up Cortex. And you can see quite a lot of people will actually take the shortcut from time to time. It's random. How many people will actually take the shortcut? You know, it depends. Sometimes some laps, you know, no one will ever hit the shortcut, and sometimes you know, everyone will hit the shortcut. So that's just some of that randomness added to it. I hope that's a good enough spot. You have to be careful when laying it on a boost pad, because they will, if you hit it too late, they will still be able to make time, and in some cases will still land on the platform, or not platform, but the other side of the hole that they were supposed to land on. So you have to be very careful about where you lay things down at. Especially with these, you have to make sure that you kind of do it either just as they hit the boost pad or just a little bit before. And you also have to be very precise whenever you... Oh wow, looked like it caught two of them, even though that was only a Brio beaker. Maybe you got caught up behind Tiny or something. But you have to be very careful when laying items down as well. If you notice that nitro, everybody goes along that line. I just set the nitro just a little bit too far to the right for it to be able to hit anybody. So you have to be very, very careful about where you lay your items down at. That definitely will help. I guess I should have waited. Well, I guess I didn't have anything there. That nitro, I didn't set it in the right spot either. So laps about 104. You know, still pretty long, pretty difficult, especially if you take the shortcut. Shortcut is very difficult to learn how to do it, because you have to hit the jump. You know, you either have to hit R1 or R1 or L1 just as you're coming up to the very edge of the jump. So it's kind of difficult to figure out the right spot to time your jump, and it will take a lot of practice. And even today, I can't get it every single time I try. And you see what Puro does. I think that's the first time Puro's ever came to second with this since I've been doing this. But I believe that's everybody. I think maybe the only person that hasn't come in second is Dingo, and I don't think Cortex has come in third yet. But I believe that's all the characters outside of just Dingo not coming in second and Cortex not coming in third. You've seen the backs and fronts of all the other characters losing animations. Yeah, this is the. I think this is the track with the 1 minute 12 second times, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, this is a pretty long track as well. You know, the last two tracks, both Hot Air Skyway and this track, are very long, very difficult to learn tracks, just because of what you have to do with them in the way that the tracks are laid out and all that. And they're very hard tracks to learn, especially going through this section. You have to be very careful not to overshoot the holes. And here, this only affects you if you have the speed boost, the super speed pad cheat on, that you can sometimes overshoot that long little tunnel, and you can actually land on other parts of the track that you've already been on, which will have whichever side you're on. You know, if you're good, Aku will come rescue you. If you're evil, Uku will come and rescue you. But it's pretty much the same as falling down a hole. You'll still lose quite a bit of time while going through there, so you have to be very careful and very precise. You don't have to let off the gas, maybe just for an instant, just to make sure that you don't end up messing yourself up. But if you do have the super speed boost pad, if you have the cheat code on, you can actually gain quite a bit of time ahead of the other racers. So it doesn't really, you don't have to really worry about losing the race, just because there are so many around. This is Oxide's home racetrack, and so I guess for speed purposes, he wants to have a whole bunch of speed pads around, so to artificially say that he's the fastest or something. Wow, Coco just can't catch a break, can she? But anyway, you can see the other racers. You can sometimes see the other racers jump over the holes if you can time it just right. You can see where their locations are on the around the track. I just think that Purr is doing so good. I was hoping to knock him down, but I don't think as far away as he is, and I haven't been able to find his racing line yet, so I doubt I'll be able to. But that's when you want to experiment. If you don't know someone's racing line for sure, you just want to. But you have hit other racers before, like I've hit both Coco and Engine, so I know their racing lines going through some of those jumps. You want to try to experiment and see, who you can affect. So I hit Tiny and Cortex, but that's just that blast radius effect. Now you want to be careful. Sometimes it can glitch, and especially if they fall down that particular hole. And I didn't hit Purr, so it's like Dingo. It's like I hit Dingo. Sometimes it will glitch, and it will have someone that falls down that particular hole. The one that I hit Tiny in, it will have them saying that they are in first, and if you let that glitch stay there, you'll actually come in second. And I've actually had that happen to me before, so you want to be very, very careful. It doesn't happen every time, and usually it fixes itself very quickly, but you still want to be very careful about it.
Wow, you call that racing? Forget about it. If you's gonna face Oxide, you's gonna have to get past me first. I'm the speed champion here, and I'm gonna save the world. For a sizable fee, of course.
So here is Pinstripe, one of the hardest bosses in the game. He is by far the most annoying and the hardest one to get past and stay ahead of, as well as to try to find a good racing line to knock him down some of these holes. Kind of like Papu on his track, he will stay in the middle of his racetrack, so all you have to do is just kind of lay things down in the middle of most of the straightaways, and you'll end up hitting him. But now, I'm actually surprised he got blown up by that TNT. Usually that never has blown him up before. But now what Pinstripe does is he throws the bowling bombs behind him, and he will. And he's also very fast. I believe his thing is overall speed, so he is very fast, and you have to be very, very careful about how fast you go through the track. If you slow down even a little bit, he can catch up to you rather easily. So you definitely want to be very careful. And sadly, I'm not juiced up in that, but that would be a very good area to be able to hit him at. As I said, just lay things down in the middle of the tracks, and you shouldn't have anything to worry about. I'll see if I can do that again. But something that I hadn't mentioned before: the bosses will not start to throw their items until they've hit a weapons crate. So you have a few seconds for most boss tracks before they will actually start to affect you, which is good. That definitely helps, especially with some of the harder bosses like Pinstripe, Komodo Joe. I wouldn't view Ripperoo as very difficult, especially, you know, just him being the first boss fight. If you can get around him, that's a lot better. If you can't, you know, that's a little bit worse, but more often than not, you can usually get around him fairly easily. But knowing a boss's racing line definitely helps, because you can just lay stuff down in his path to affect him. And you can see he just about made it across, but that's one good thing about laying down the... Oh, that tells you that you have to be very careful with what you lay down and where you lay it down. You know, with the Brio Beaker, you have to be very precise and know when exactly to drop it, or all he'll do is just slightly inconvenience the boss or whatever character that you drop it on. And so you have to be very, very careful. And even you have to be careful with Pinstripe, because sometimes his bowling bombs will go off the sides of the track depending on where he is and where you are, and you can actually get hit by them underneath that little bridge that I just went under. If he throws a bowling bomb there, you'll get hit by it. If you he can throw a bowling bomb on the other side of the fence, and it can blow you up. That's just a few of the areas where he can actually hit you at, so you want to be very careful and try to stay as far ahead away from him as possible so that he doesn't affect you. But there we go, not too bad. But you can see how long this track is, about 105, low 105, high 104 range is a pretty good average while trying to go through this, you know, around the track. But he is definitely one of my most favorite characters in this game and in the series, and his boss battle is definitely very fun, just because his racing line is so easy to pick out. But you can see he's doing the same animation, or kind of, either it's the same animation or kind of the same animation as he did in Crash 1 when his gun jammed when he was on top of the table, right before you hit him for the last time.
So, yous beat me fair and square. I doubt you'll be as lucky with Oxide. Here's a key for your troubles. Oh, brother.
Well, the little terror vermin has finally collected all the trophies to become world champion. What took you so long? Now we prove who the fastest driver really is.
Alright, so now we will race Oxide. He is by far the hardest boss fight if you don't have the super speed boost pads on. If you don't have those on, he is a very difficult boss fight indeed. He will throw behind, well, first off he'll cheat here, and then once he hits one of the weapons crates, he will then begin to throw 2 sets of green beakers, and then the rest of it will be TNTs until you get into this section, which will be nitros. But what he throws with the TNTs, why those are so bad, is because they will blow up on impact, and there's 2 of them, so that kind of the blast radius reaches, I believe, all over the track. Then he'll throw the bowling bombs, as well as I don't remember. I think he throws red beakers through this section. Maybe it's more nitros. I don't remember exactly where. But once you get to this section, he'll throw red beakers now. And then at a certain point, he'll throw green beakers, or either it's until he gets... he'll throw green until he gets juiced, and then he'll throw red. I don't remember exactly. But his racing line is very easy to hit for most of the track. All you have to do is just drop something on every single boost pad that you see, and he will hit it, and so that definitely makes it, you know, worth dropping all this stuff on him. But he will not, but everything, you know, no matter what it is, missile, bowling bomb, nitro, TNT, whatever, he will only spin out by it. Even if it's I believe even if it's a mask, he'll still just spin out by it. Like if he gets hit by a Brio Beaker. The only thing that will make him tumble is the shield, the blue shield. If you have that, as I said, that is the only way to make him tumble, I believe, except for maybe the mask. I don't remember. I haven't hit him with a mask in a very long time, and so I may be wrong about that. And even with this track, it still doesn't seem like I'm going around 112. Maybe I'm thinking about Tiny Arena, but then again, I could, yeah, I guess I am thinking about Tiny Arena. That, as I said, that is the longest track on the, out of all the tracks that are available to you to race in. This one you can get around here pretty easily as long as you don't have too many mess ups, you know, about 103, 102. If you can hit everything right, you can get it at pretty low 102s. If you mess things up, it'll be about mid to high 103s. But yeah, you know, if you have even if you don't have the super speed boost pad on, if you can get ahead of him, and then continue to use the, what do you call it? Power sliding boost. You know, you can get ahead of him very easily. He doesn't do it as often. He does it a lot more often than the regular racers do. You know, the other 7 racers that usually you race against, and a lot more than the bosses will do it. As you go along, the bosses will do it more and more frequently. Pinstripe does it the most, but Oxide does it the most out of all of them. And he is not too difficult. You can see 101, but that kind of is because I was using the super boost pads. If you don't have the super boost pads on, it's about mid to low 102 range instead of 101. You can definitely get a lot faster lap times by having these super boost pads on than not having them on. But anyway, so you can see he is frustrated, jumping around. And so there you go. And now this will be a cutscene. Again, similar to the cutscene that was at the beginning.
I can't believe you beat me. I never lose. How embarrassing. I'll be the laughing stock of all Gasmoxia. Fine. Your miserable planet stays gushy and green. At least you still haven't gathered all my time relics. Until you've collected all of those and race me again, you'll never be able to claim you are the fastest. This won't be the last time you'll face nitrous oxide. We will meet again.
And so there you go. That's the Oxide race. It's just the first race. It's kind of like fighting Cortex and Crash 3 for the first time you fighting, you know, but then you have to do it again. And so this is the credits. You can see, I don't know what that effect is. You know, the kind of, you can see kind of like images of the movements that you can do. But this is where you'll see all of the other characters win animations. I will try to show off Crash's losing animation, but all he does is just sleep, kind of like he did at the start. You know, when he was sleeping beside his car while everyone else was preparing their own cars. And that's all he does. Just, you know, think of him laying down, sleeping in both second and in first, and pretty much that's what he's doing. And so Brendan O'Brien talks for Pinstripe in this game. And you can see these other people talk for the others, pretty much. But yeah, you know, that's it. That's the game. It's pretty short, you know, not all that long, especially if you can do everything just right. This is actually pretty short, and it's kind of like going after the crystals in both Crash. Well, pretty much just like Crash 3. You know, you get through all the crystals. It's fun, but then you have to go through and do the tedious part of going after the time relics. If you notice, Oxide had said time relics, so you have to go after the relics once again. And what Dingodile does is he will shoot a flame out of his flamethrower. You don't see it there, but that's what he does if you win with him while he's on the podium. But it's not, you know, and it's not all that bad. You know, it's pretty much just racing. It's just like you're just trying to beat a lap time, and it's not as tedious as it is in Crash 3 to me. I still don't like it, and I feel that if they hadn't added it, then you could have maybe added more tracks. You know, I don't know. To be honest, I don't know how much disk space that the relics took away from the disk that you could have added, tracks to. But at least maybe another area, maybe another 2 areas. That would have been great. You know, the game does seem a little short, but it's definitely one of in my opinion, the best Crash racing game. Out of all of them, there's only been 3. And this is definitely the best out of all 3. Very fun, very easy to get, to learn how to play. Not too difficult, really. Some of the tracks can be a little bit more difficult. Some of the bosses can, as you go along, will get a little bit more difficult. But for the most part, very fun, very easy. And you see Entropy there. You can actually play as Entropy. I will show off how to do that once I beat the story mode, because it's kind of not really weird how to get to it. It's just a little bit difficult to try to get to him, and it's very tedious. And you can see all of the podium, the trophy girls, whatever you want to call them, for all the other characters. I said the green one is for Dingo and Tiny. This one is for Polar and Purra. And this one is for Engine and Cortex. And I will talk about them and everything once I beat the game. But anyway, so now I will go ahead and talk about all the trivia and everything like I normally do. I'll just leave it here in Gemstone Valley and let you look at the waterfall. Let's see. Alright, so we'll start with Engine Labs first, because that was the first track that we went into. Alrighty. Engine Labs is a track in Crash Team Racing and is part of Citadel City and is based upon the levels The Lab and Toxic Waste from Crash Bandicoot. The unlockable battle arena lab basement is very similar to this track, as its name may suggest. It is Engine's home track, and it features many small jumps as well as one large one, a giant rolling barrel which can squash racers, possibly knocking them off the track, and a very long tunnel full of turbos. It features in the Crash Cup and the Blue Gym Cup, the Sewer Speedway, Tiger Temple, and Dragon Mines, where it is the final race there. It is one of the first races available to race on in Citadel City, the other being Cortex Castle. It is generally considered to be the most difficult Platinum Relic to attain in the game. I'll definitely agree with that. No trivia for the track by itself, so we'll go ahead and do Cortex Castle next. Just give me a moment. I hit the wrong thing. It's actually talking about Cortex Castle from Crash 1, not for the track. Alright, here we go. Cortex Castle is a racetrack featured on Crash Team Racing. It is based on the castle from the first Crash Bandicoot game. In Adventure Mode, it is one of the first tracks available in Citadel City, along with Engine Labs, as the name suggests. It is the home track of Dr. Cortex. It is in the Green Gym Cup, along with Ruse Tubes, Cocoa Park, and Polar Pass. It is also in the Nitro Cup on arcade mode. Being one of the final tracks, Cortex Castle is quite hard. More so than Engine Labs, obstacles in it are spiders that hang from the ceiling. Hitting them will spin you out. Trivia: this track is heavily based off the original Cortex Castle design from Crash Bandicoot, including the enemies such as the spiders on the adventure map surrounding the portal to this track. There are 5 stained glass windows which show the mug shots of the bosses in Crash Bandicoot 3. And so we'll do Hot Air Skyway next. Hot Air Skyway is a track in Crash Team Racing. It is set in the sky with airships based on the one above Cortex Castle and Crash Bandicoot. The pictures on them show that this is Pinstripe's home track. The track features many short corners, gaps in the wall, where you can drive down and suffer a very long fall and 2 large jumps. This track is in the Crash Cup and both the yellow as well as in the Yellow Cup with Tiny Arena, Dingo Canyon, and Oxide Station, and the Purple Gym Cup along with Ruse Tubes, Papoose Pyramid, and Dragon Mines. In the Adventure mode, it is in Citadel City opposite Oxide Station. This track has 3 shortcuts. This level has 3 shortcuts, the first being a farther landing pad to the right after the first jump, which requires practice to do. The second requires the player to turn around after the 2 tracks go side by side and jump over the border. Third is to use the final turbo ramp and land on the track right next to the entrance of the tunnel under the hot air balloon. To do this, players must use a fast character by also using the Aku Aku Uku Uku mask. Cheat 10 pieces, 1 per fruit, and do the little bunny hop just before one launches out the turbo ramp. One may also need to use the turbo ramp cheat and the power slide turbo boost as well, which will make it a lot easier, but it is uncertain whether they are needed to use this shortcut. It is also possible with a lot of luck to fall off at certain points and land on later parts of the track. Without using these methods, this is one of the toughest tracks in the game. Not really. The turbo boost cheat definitely helps, but you don't need it. It's as long as you aren't using Tiny or Dingo, this is a pretty easy track. In early screenshots, the airships instead had Cortex's face on them, which means it was originally supposed to be Cortex's home track. Another reason is because in the CTR intro, the camera pans through this course before cutting to Cortex, who is preparing for the race. So we'll do Oxide Station next. Oxide Station is the final track in Crash Team Racing. It's the track where the boss race against Nitrous Oxide takes place, as it is his home track. This is also the final race in the Yellow Gym Cup. All of the letters for the CTR challenge are on jumps, making them harder to get and giving you only 3 chances at each. This track has a different crate layout compared to all the other tracks. Instead of weapons crates being in rows of 4 with 1 per crates placed at strategic points, they replace one of the 4 weapons crates. There are no intentional shortcuts on this track. The one unintentional shortcut is close to the part where you must jump through space. After driving through the tunnel, drive up the oncoming ramp and jump to your left. If you do this correctly, you will land on the part of the track that comes after the space jump, giving you a huge lead. The track is unavailable for multiplayer races, but can be raced on in the arcade mode. This track seems to allow the racer to defy gravity during boost and boost pad jumps for short amounts of time. This track's music contains elements of the jetpack levels from Crash 2, Rocket, and Pack Attack. Alright, so we'll read about the Pinstripe boss fight. Pinstripe returns as the 4th boss to race against in Adventure mode. He is also a playable character if the player uses a cheat or completes the Yellow Gym Cup. In Adventure mode, to unlock him, he drives a black cart which has high acceleration, just like Engine and Coco. Okay, I could have swore he was overall top speed. Speed 4 out of 5, acceleration 5 out of 5, and turning 2 out of 5. Yeah, he's definitely very hard to turn with. Now we'll talk about the Nitrous Oxide boss battle. Nitrous Oxide was first seen in Crash Team Racing when he came to Earth to challenge the planet's people to a racing contest he called Survival of the Fastest. He said that if Earth's inhabitants won the contest, he would leave the Earth alone, but if he won, he would turn the Earth into a giant concrete parking lot and enslave the inhabitants of the planet. Earth's champion racer was able to defeat Oxide twice. But anyway, so all of his stats are maxed out, so he is the best driver to race against, or no, to use, but you can't use Nitrous Oxide that I know of. But anyway, so I thank you for watching. The challenge of the video is how many times that I hit both Pinstripe and Oxide with items. Both of their faces would have turned either red or green if I hit them, depending on what I hit them with, so that will help you count how many I hit them with. Next time we will go after the CTR tokens in Insanity Beach and the relics in Insanity Beach, and depending on time, I may try to do the Lost Ruins as well, but I don't think I'll have enough time because both of these will take quite a bit of time to get to. So until then, later everyone.